everybody, Michelle from Michelle's Craft Corner here with Pikachu, and we're here to show you how to do the fun Pikachu box using the Stampin' Up! Gift bag punch board here. So these are just a couple different versions of the same idea. This one was our video star. Notice this one's got a closed top, and I decided to flip that for this one, so you could actually use it to do gifts, treats, that kind of thing. So really you can do either one from this video. I'm also going to show you two different ways to do the mouth, and it's just nice and quick and easy. So let's get started. Now let's go over the products that you need for this video, starting with paper colors. Some So Saffron, Basic Black, Real Red, and Whisper White. The pink is optional if you want to do the tongue. You can also do it in red as well, but it's just a small scrap piece. Okay, so that's the paper colors that we need. Then moving on to the punches. Pretty much all the face is a variation of punch art. So for the small white eyes, we're going to do the 1/2 inch circle punch. For the black, we're going to do the 1 1/4 inch circle punch. For the cheeks, we're going to do the 2 inch circle punch in the Real Red. For the ears, little tops of the ears, is going to be the heart, just the top of the heart. For the mouth, there's a couple different options. I showed more than one way to do it. So we're going to do this mouth with the heart punch. If you don't have the heart punch, you can also do this same mouth using the bow builder punch. So I'll show you that as well. If you would rather do the smiling mouth face, for that you need the fox builder punch. So I'll show you how to do that. And lastly, for the circle of the neck, we're going to use just a circle guide punched out from the 2.5 inch circle punch. Any other large circle will do for this. And alternatively, if you don't have a lot of these punches, if you have the circle framelets, these could be used interchangeably with a lot of the punches, but you would still need the 1/2 inch circle for the 1/2 inch circle for the white of the eyes, because it doesn't quite get that small. So let's get moving on to our next step. Oh, you also need, for coloring the tail, the Cajun Craze marker, and then paper snips for just some fine cutting. So we're going to start with our box body using the Stampin' Up! Gift bag punch board and a sheet of 8.5 by 11 So Saffron paper. Now I have one that Pikachu helped me go ahead and mark out the lines that I did. So as I go through the steps, you can kind of see it clearer on the paper. So you take it and you tuck it in and push it all the way in. Now my Pikachu's lines aren't perfectly straight. Alright, and there's a handy start line on this guy, so you're going to line up the edge of the paper to the start line. It also comes with the score blade that actually tucks really handily inside. So you're going to use that blade. We'll line her up. First step, punch. Pushing this down makes a nice crease on the edges, so that creases our first edge. We're going to do a line across the top, and then we're also going to do side 2 all the way down. And we're going to take paper and scoot it down to the line that we just scored. Line that up with this little mark right here. Also continuing that line across the top. And then we're going to do the M for medium. The 11 size is on the board. It actually says it right there. The medium size box for this punch. So we're just going to do a line on medium. There. And then we're going to scoot it down again. And yet again, line up the spot that we just scored and punch it to kind of do the other edge of that. And then we're also going to score it on side 2. Continuing that line again. I think you guys are getting the hint. Line it up again. And then this time we're going to score it on the medium again. So don't forget to punch on each score line so you get the nice flaps. And then scooting it down one more time. Right to that edge and punch. So that gives you this nice shape. Nice and handy. And what I'm going to do, and other thing to note is the punch board itself is not very long for like the size 11. So when you score it, you're only going to be able to go about this far. If you would like a nice crisp line, you can put it on your Stampin' score blade and just score that extra bit of the line, or you can just trace it as you go and just kind of fold it along. Either way works. So we're going to go ahead and fold up our box here. And I'm folding it in just to kind of hide all my spots. Okay. Like that. Okay, you can use your blade from this to kind of make nice crisp lines if you want. Okay. And then it'll close just like that. Okay. And to do the glue to adhere it, you can use pretty much any glue that you prefer. I really like the Tombow for this project, but for the side, because it is paper and this edge is what's going to have the most wear and tear, I recommend using a fast fuse tape, just because it's a bit more durable than just the Tombow and you don't have to wait for it to dry. So I'm going to take this guy, you can see it here, okay, and just run it down that line. And when you're at the end, you just do a check mark to cut it. So check. Okay. And then also I've got this like little extra flab here. I'm going to use my paper snips and just trim that off. We don't really need it. Go. Snip. It's easy. Okay. So I recommend doing the side of the box first. So we're going to line it up. Okay, that, and kind of press, and just follow along that crease. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to do the closure. I personally like the small flaps in first and then the big flaps, but either way works. Now for this, I'm going to do the fast fuse again, nice and quick. So you can see. And you really only need a little bit on the bigger flap, because it's going to be, so 2 small ones down, the one with tape, and then the one on top of the tape. I'm just going to give it a little push. You can push it from both sides to check. Okay, so now it just depends which box type you want. If you want a bag that you can gift that has the open lid, then this is going to be your top. If you'd rather it be more of a puppet style, then you're going to flip it over and this will be your top. Both work, it's just a matter of personal preference and where you're going to be placing the face, okay? So that is our basic box. We're going to put that to the side for just a second. Now, we also need to go ahead and pre-cut the strips for the arms and ears and tail. For that, we're also using the So Saffron paper, but we're doing a 1.5 inch strip. So this is 8.5 by 11. I just did 1.5 inch strips, 3 of them. And then 2 of the strips we're going to cut in half, just right smack in half at 4 1/4. So boom, just like that. Okay. The third one is going to stay nice and long, and this is going to be for the tail. Okay. So that is that. And then we're going to go ahead and punch out our shapes and just have them all done and ready to go. Well, now I have all my shapes pre-cut on my punches. I figured you guys didn't necessarily want to see me punch out, but if you're not familiar with the Stampin' Up! Punches, they open like that at an angle, and you stick it in, and what's nice is you can really line up by flipping it over and getting just the shape you need. But I went ahead and pre-cut all of those, so you can see that. Got the 2 red, the 2 black, the 2 white, and I have 3 hearts, 2 for the ears and 1 for the mouth. And then I went ahead and punched out 2 for the smiling mouth with the fox punch as well, so we'll show you that. So let's go ahead and start putting some of these together. We'll just start with the black and white of the eyes. Now for this, I like doing the Tombow because it gives me a little bit of a wiggle time before it fully dries, so if I don't necessarily like the placement, I can move it a little bit. So we're just going to take that, stick it on there, the other one, just like that. Oh, okay, there we go. So we got two eyes. Move those off to the side. So then we're also going to have the ears. Now for the ears, it's kind of like a little Hershey Kiss shape. You can see the back, I just glued it on top. So we're just going to take it and slice it with our paper snips, just to kind of give it that little Hershey Kiss shape. So just like that. Ooh, I dropped it. There we go. Just like that. Okay, so we're going to do two of those like that. They don't have to be exactly the same, but if you do want them the same, you can layer them on top before cutting. Okay, and the last one is for the mouth. Now, to do the little lipped mouth, you're going to take your heart punch, and you already have one heart pre-cut, and we're going to stick it back in. Okay, and let me also share with you another tip. When dealing with tiny things, such as small, difficult punches, and trying to get them into tight spaces and corners, it is handy to use Post-it notes. So we're just going to Post-it note the top of that real quick, just like that. So that way when we slide it in, you have extra grip. So we're going to slide it in. Now, we've already got it punched, so you can see this. Okay, we already have it punched, so we're going to put it in just below that edge, just a little bit. Okay, and punch it again. Now that gives us this kind of little crisp edge piece like that. You see, like the V? And that is essentially the shape for the mouth. I just flip it upside down and trim it. So we've got that. And you can always do a little less, a little more, just personal preference on how thick you want it. So we're just going to trim the excess off. Oh, there we go. So there is one little mouth, just like that. Okay. So if you don't have the heart punch, you may have a tricky time figuring out what to do the ears with instead, but you can also do the same V-shaped mouth with the bow builder. See this edge of the bow right there? You can do the exact same thing, punch out that shape, and then just trim that little extra bit with that. So that's just another way to do that shape with this punch. Okay, moving on to this mouth. So for this one, we've got all our shapes. Move these out of the way for a second. Okay. So this one was made with the Fox Builder punch, just using this body shape. I did a black and a pink. So let me move him in here so you can see. There we go. Okay, so the basic shape is using the black, and we're just going to take our paper snips and trim off that side, that kind of leg edge. So we just kind of have a little oval like that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the pink, trimming off that edge. Okay, little scraps everywhere. Okay, all right. Then we're going to take the oval punch and we're going to glue it on top. So it's just that rounded edge. There's a little dotted tombow here. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to need to trim it. So to trim it, I recommend flipping it over on the back because you can follow that black edge. Get my paper snips and just trim this guy out. That way it's nice and aligned with the black. Just like that. Okay. Alright. So now you've got that. You also need to do the little scallops for the edge of the mouth. Now to do that, I flip it on the back, and I like to mark where the center is with a white pen. You could also do this with a pencil or just any really light color marker. I'm eyeballing at this, but normally I measure it. So mark a center spot on the back, and then I use my 1/2 inch circle punch. Open that up, and I'm going to use that center dot as a guide. So one edge of my punch is going to be on the dot, and the other one is going to be on the corner of the paper. So I'm going to line that up, punch it out, and you get that nice shape. Oh, it's too close. Okay, nice shape. So I'm going to do that again on the other side, lining it up with that guide again, and voila. So then you have the two little edges. So you flip it over and we have a mouth. So, ta-da! Which I do think that's my favorite. Okay, so that is the two different types of mouths right there. And if you don't have either those punches, you could just do a simple line if you prefer. Now for the little nose, I honestly just did a little scrap of black, which if you're punching all these shapes, you're going to have plenty of this little tiny pieces of black. And I just took my paper snips and just cut out a small rectangle. Now you do want it to be small just so it's proportional to everything else. So just a little scrap rectangle, so nothing too complicated about that. And then we've got our two eyes. So the face is coming together. Here we go. Whites up a little more. Okay. So now we have the basic face. So we're going to bring back our, oh, and almost forgot. So now we also need to do the arms, and we need to do the ears too. So let's go ahead and do those real quick. So we have our yellow strips, our two that we cut in half. So we're going to take two of them, and we're going to round them out for the arms so they have a nice round edge. So we're going to use the 2-inch circle punch, open that up, and we're going to tuck the paper back in, and you're just going to use a little bit of that edge, kind of line it up to punch and give it that simple curve. So we're going to do that on both hands. Just nice and quick. And that just makes it nice and uniform. Okay, so there's our two hands. Now for the ears, we're going to do 2 strips. Oh, got little scraps everywhere. Okay, we're going to take our 2 strips and we're going to glue our little Hershey Kiss-esque little black shapes on top, just like that. So you can see it's starting to come together. So a little line of Tombow on each of those. Now, depending on how far down you cut it and how far down you place it, you may have to trim a little bit of the corners on the yellow, like I may need to. Okay, but that is your basic ears right there. Okay, so now we got the ears, got the arms, we got the face coming together. Here's a little, okay. All right, so let's go ahead and grab our box. We'll go back to our box. Okay, and start putting them together. So for this one, I'm going to have the open on the top so I can use it as a gift bag, just like that. Now, you remember how in the beginning I said to use a circle as a guide. So what I did, oh, excuse my reach, okay, is cut out a circle in the 2.5-inch punch. You can use the circle shape, or if you'd rather, if you had just some scrap lying around, you can use this outer edge as well. So either one works, doesn't really matter. All right, so we're going to take it. Actually, I think I'm going to use this one. No, okay. And line it up on my box. Now you want it to be kind of the upper third of the box. There we go. So then I'm going to take my pen. Where's my pen? There it is. Okay. Yep. Where's my pen? There it is. Okay. Okay. So take it and, oh, not hit the camera. Sorry about that. And I'm going to use this as a guide. So I'm just going to trace that edge. Now, you don't need to go all the way up because keep in mind you've got the cheeks that are going to be covering. So like right there. So we're going to go ahead and lay our 2 cheeks on there. Ooh, come back here. Now we're not gluing them just yet because as you can see, that edge for this circle shape, if you had a bigger circle, you may not have to worry about this as much. But this edge is a little shorter than the edge of my box. So to make it look like the cheeks are kind of off the side of the face, we're going to have to trace those as well. Now I probably should have done a different color than red because this is going to be really hard to see. But bear with me. Alright, so we're going to put those about where we want them and line up our guide on top. Go. And do a little bit of a trace on the red as well. Move this one over a little bit more. Go. Oh, I moved. I did not hold him good enough. Okay, there we go. Just like that. So you can kind of see that shape. Okay. Then I'm going to take my paper snips and kind of follow along. Oh, sorry, in the camera. Follow along that edge. Okay, just kind of like that. So it's going to go there. Now, because I'm moving it out a little bit, okay, hold this with finger. I'm moving it out a little bit so that part of it hangs off. I'm going to glue it down. Let me show you like this. Okay, so the edge follows the edge of my guide line. Then I hang it off and have that little extra where I can just trim it after I glue it. So I'm going to glue. Okay, gluing him down, just like that. Okay, and then you see it's just kind of hanging off. Recommend waiting an extra second so it's dry, but I'm just gonna trim that extra red, just like that. Now, if you can just have big circle and go the whole way, but I kind of like it looking like it's on the edge of the chin for personal aesthetic. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing with the other circle for the cheek. Just kind of trim that edge line, and then just kind of let's wedge it out a little bit. Okay, and we're going to glue that one. Just like that. Okay. And then give that a second to dry and then cut that one as well. Just like that. Yeah, there we go, 2 cheeks. Alright. So then for the rest of the face, it's just as simple as gluing them on. So we're going to do our 2 eyes. Okay, I put them a little closer than I would have liked. There we go. See, with the Tombow, you can kind of wiggle it a little bit. And put the face. Do a little dot for the nose. Now, if you didn't want to do a little scrap, you could also just do a little line with your marker as well. The basic black marker. That. Glue on my little mouth. Very happy Pikachu. Just like that. Very good. Okay, then for the ears, we're going to flip the whole thing to the back. Make sure that the black is facing to the front. And we're basically going to kind of glue them at a bit of a crisscross, similar to that. So when you see it. Now, I recommend kind of pushing them up a little bit so they are a bit longer. So, I'm going to do one and then we'll do the others. Oh, a little more of that. Just like that. I'll do the other one. Overlapping them a little bit. Flip it over, see how I like it. Because it's still drying for a second, you can wiggle them a little bit if you need to. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so then we have the arms. Got these two guys right here. Clean off that. Okay. So for this one, I mean, you can have them facing out if you like, but I kind of like folding them back. So for this, I just do a little glue the base and glue it like that first. Okay, and then give it a second to dry, and then going with the crease, I kind of fold it at the crease. Just like that. So nice and simple. Do give it a second to dry before you fold it. Okay, and there's the other one. I mean, you could put things in his hands. He could be... This would also make a really good balloon weight or something, you know, if you're going to a party. Okay, so now we've got our face, our ears, our arms all done and ready to go. Now it's time to work on the tail. All right. So the last part to put him together is the tail. Now Pikachu, show us his. It's a signature zigzag style tail with a little bit of coloring on the bottom. So to do that, we're going to use our last strip of the 1.5 inch yellow and so saffron. And I trimmed a section off the top about 2.5 inches. You can go more or less on personal preference. I'm going to take that section and layer it on top with a little glue. Just do this real quick. Just like that. And I like to put it at a bit of an angle. Okay. Now for the zigzag pattern, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. But honestly, I just kind of eyeball and do wedges. So for this guy, see, because I put it at a bit of an angle, I kind of already have a little bit of that angle going. So I'm just going to follow that and cut out a little wedge, just like that. And then go on the other side, kind of following that same line. And do another little triangle out of it, just like that. And back on the other side, kind of back and forth. Now it won't be exact, but it'll get the idea across. I'll do one more little one at the base. Now, you don't want to get too close to the end because you do need space to glue it to the back. Okay, here we go. So we've got a good little zigzag tail pattern. Now, in the cartoons and everything, it is iconically colored at the tip, and he also tends to have stripes on the back. But most pictures and stuff, you don't see his back, so we're just going to show a little bit of that brown peeking through. For this, I use the Cajun Craze marker. I kind of liked the coloring with the yellow, but if you have a different shade of brown, that would work as well. So we'll just take this guy and just give him a little kind of that hair line. That real quick. You can color it as much or as little as you want, just to kind of give it that edge. Now you don't have to color all the way down because, as I said a minute ago, you are going to be gluing it to the back. So we'll just do a little bit. Now, depending on how your use for the Pikachu, you may want to reinforce the tail. The paper itself is going to have a bit of a wobble, but if that doesn't bother you, then that's fine. You can just leave it as is and glue it to the back. If you want to give it a little bit more strength, what you can do is reinforce it by gluing it to the back of a little piece of thin poster board. And that'll just give it a little less of the wobble if it's standing out. So, and that's just glue it on top and cut it out. But if not, then you're done. Go ahead and add him to our one in progress here. Just a little glue, just like that, and I'm going to stick him at an angle. Okay, just like that. Ta-da! See, it is a little floppy, but I don't mind it for this one. That's just kind of the nature. So it's just glued on the back like that. And there you go. That is your basic box Pokemon. Pikachu. Now I also want to show this other one that I made, and it's basically with the exact same technique. It's just everything on a much smaller scale, and I think honestly this one turned out even cuter than the big guy. So let me show you this one. So this was the big one with the 8.5 by 11. So this little guy, isn't that so cute? Made the exact same way, it's just everything is on a smaller scale. So this one used base paper that is 5 by 8.5. So I just trimmed that paper down. And the arms were 1 inch instead of the 1.5. So it's just everything's a little bit smaller. I still used the heart shape, and same thing with the tail, just smaller circles. And the white, I just did the little dot of the white pen. So just another version, just very cute. Well, thank you for joining us. Pikachu and I appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll be making lots more Pikachus in the future. Thank you, Pikachu. Pikachu! And we'll see you in the next video.